Hey guys, it's been a long time since I've done one of these. I just decided to go ahead and talk about some health updates. It's been a minute, like I said. It's been almost a month actually since I've talked to you guys about my health journey. So, what's been popping? What's been happening? So, I would say over the last month, I've been in a lot of gridlock in terms of my weight. My weight has stayed the same for the most part. I think I went up like 5 pounds or something like that. There's a lot of like bloatage when you start going to the gym. There's, I've had muscle gains for sure. Like I've gained strength over the past month. Muscle memory kicks in, all these things kind of happen. You can build your muscle pretty fast, get back to like where I was in October or November. I think I stopped going to the gym at the end of November. So it was kind of like my body could just pretty easily go back, especially over the past month. And recently I went up in weight again, which was nice in terms of the gym. But yeah, it's been difficult. It's been difficult to adjust to it again. It's like a lot of my journey is like I do things to pick it up or to make it happen faster, and then I do things to slow it down when it needs to, or like when it's too difficult. Like in the winter, for example, that's when it's usually too hard. So I have to let go of some things, and then in the spring I have to take on things. So April has become kind of a challenging month of the year because it's usually around the time that I start going to the gym again. And it's just tough. It's tough when you're bloated, when you're, not losing, you're still counting, you're still doing all this stuff, and you're not really losing, you're not really, it's just the same. It's tough. And I think like those moments of gridlock, they tend to happen to me around this weight, because in a lot of times where I've lost weight in the past, I'd get to in the 290s. This is typically when I would have extreme plateauage, or like very, very plateaued. I do want to remind you guys too, I forgot to say at the beginning of this video, for any of you guys who are new, these videos are exploratory, and it's me talking about what I'm feeling in the moment for my own documentation purposes. That's why I don't monetize these or anything. It's just because it's not, it's not official kind of thing. It's like what I think is going on at the time, and it's subject to change. So I just want you guys to understand that. So basically, I think a lot of people, when they get into a gridlock phase, or when they get into a phase where they're putting on muscle and burning fat at the same time, they don't want to like continue, because it's all about the scale. It's all about the numbers. And I felt that way sometimes. I've also been really hungry sometimes throughout this month. Like the gym hunger, the post-gym hunger is very, very real. And especially the day after, it's really tough. So I've struggled where I've definitely had less of a deficit. I don't think for the past month I was burning tons of fat or anything like that. I think it was just pretty small, probably at most 1 pound a week, or, in that range. Definitely probably even less, maybe like half a pound, less. And definitely enough for muscle gain, water retention, etc., to take over basically whatever progress I was making in April or in late March as well. So it's been challenging, but I'm getting used to it again. I knew I would. So at this point, I've been going to the gym for a month. I feel a little bit better. I feel like less hunger. It's getting warmer. And with the heat and the warmness and the spring really coming in, like some of those more difficult hypo things of like the breathing issues, the hypoventilation, right? These kind of things are fading. And instead, I'm getting more into other issues, which that's typically what happens. I found that my metabolism is a lot faster this year than it was a while back. I need to open up. Speaking of my metabolism, I'm getting hot sitting in here. Hopefully there's no bugs that come in. That's why I closed the window, because Alabama is no joke, I'm telling you guys. Anyways, if that happens, I'm gonna die. I just want you to know that. So basically, I've just really been dealing with that process of picking the gym back up. I made a post in my community post where I talked about the benefits of exercise and why it's important, even if you're not losing weight, to keep going. My restlessness definitely has improved. It's still there though. It's still there. So I have very recently, things have been shifting, and that's why I'm making this, where I'm experiencing a lot of that burn off feeling. And I think it's because it's warmer, and so my metabolism's kicking up, and I'm noticing that I'm a lot less heat tolerant this year. Drastically less. So like if it gets to be 75 or 80 degrees, I start sweating like I'm hot. That was not the case for the past few years. Like I could have it be like 85 degrees and I would barely be sweating. Like I think in 2021, I literally had like an overshirt and a shirt on underneath, and it was like really hot in Alabama in the summer, and I was like fine. I wasn't even sweating. So it's like, think about that. I didn't start sweating until like September of that year. And it's like, that's crazy. So like, remember in 2022, I had to buy shorts. I wore pants the whole time in 2021. But in 2022, I had to buy shorts. I couldn't handle it anymore. And last year, I don't know if I was that hot. But this year, I think I'm going to feel super hot this summer. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So my metabolism is definitely different this year. And the other things are like, I feel a lot of estrogen. I feel very, very estrogeny. Super estrogeny. And so what does that mean? It's essentially a feeling of being really irritable and very, very itchy. And like I feel itchy all over my body. I feel very like I'm ready to fight with people, and then I have like pretty low libido as well. So it's very weird. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm literally like in such an estrogenic phase right now where I am so estrogeny. And then I have all these people pressuring me to eat soy, and I'm just like, I'm not going to eat soy when I'm literally like, I'm having massive estrogen spike just from losing weight, or from like, you know, the process of the seasons changing, and you start burning more fat and stuff, and you start releasing more estrogen. And I'm just like, this is tough. Like, this is kind of crazy. So I'm a little worried, because like I feel similarly to how I felt in 2022, and I think it's because back then I was recovering, but I wasn't in a deficit. And then when I started the deficit, it kind of took me back to the beginning. And so now I've like looped all the way back around to where I was around the time I started the deficit. And it's a weird feeling. Kind of feels like graduating a little bit, because I feel like I might actually go beyond this phase this time, because there's nothing else to do. Like, I'm already going to the gym, I'm already in deficit, like I don't have to add anything. So to kind of be at that glass ceiling of health that I was at in 2022, at that huge size, that's awesome. So, and to be doing that within a deficit, it just means essentially it's getting easier to lose weight. It's starting to get easier. Not being super morbidly obese, it's definitely changing things. It's definitely making more things possible than have previously been possible. I have a lot more energy. You know, and I'm going through yet another financial issue during this time. I've talked a lot about financial problems in this playlist of these videos, but I'm noticing how I'm coping with it and how I'm responding to it, and it's very different. It's not like last year where I was paralyzed by events that happened. I would get so fearful and so like terror struck and frozen. And it's not like 2022 or 2021 where I would just like be constantly freaking out, you know, panic attacks every day, like in 2021, those feelings, or in 2022 where it's like I was so angry all the time and I didn't have any control over my behavior. So I would just be extremely angry and like extremely vocal all the time, which I needed to be at the time to recover. And I don't really regret it because it got me through, you know, because it would, if I would have, I remember at the time, it was like if I were to force myself to keep my mouth shut, then I couldn't have enough willpower to keep myself on the pro-thyroid protocol or keep myself on the thyroid journey if I did that. So I remember that in that year. So it's just interesting where now it's like in 2024, I'm just like, I feel incredibly irritable. I am quick to anger, but I am more so in control of my behavior. So it's a weird balance to be in, but it's not super comfortable. But it's like with that serotonin balance that was gained over the past year, you know, especially 2023, I have more of a social awareness this year, even with the massive irritability and it's sometimes just rage or, you know, feeling really, really angry in general because of the excess estrogen. So it's like I feel all those things and I'm just like, okay, like I can control it. I'm okay. I can still control how I act. But it's a little scary because I'm like, gosh, like what if it keeps getting worse? Like it could get worse all the way up until June, you know, towards the summer solstice. And I think I'd have to just like keep in mind that I am in a different zone now where I'm not as big. So it should be easier this time, you know, this summer, because it's been hard in the summer too. It gets tough. This is actually the easiest times when you're extremely hypo, is during the equinox periods or like the fall and the spring. Those are easier than the summer and the winter. So I'm just like, ugh, this is going to be kind of weird this summer. I'm like nervous. I'm hoping that it's just now that it's bad and that I'll be better in the summer. It could be. I don't know. I'm hoping, but I don't know because I still have a lot of weight to lose and I still, you know, I'm going to have to be in the deficit and be doing everything, especially now. This is really the time for me to lose a lot of weight. So this is going to be the majority of it, and especially as my metabolism or like my appetite is regulating and I'm adjusting to the gym and I'm getting past that point where now I can be more strict. It should start coming off again. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hope I can be okay. Like, I really do. I think I can. Like, I do feel different. I feel very empowered. It's like a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. But I was like really, really restless last night. And I was like, oh gosh, like I could barely sleep. Like, and I was up super late. So it's like I'm not sleeping well. My libido's trash. I'm irritable. Like, you know, it's all the signs of very high estrogen. So I will not be eating soy whatsoever. Just kidding. I wouldn't anyways. I wouldn't eat anything. I have to be really strict right now because I'm really on like a razor's edge as far as my journey, because I think people forget too, like when you're losing weight, you do have estrogen fluctuation from the fat itself. And so it's difficult. Like losing weight is harder than maintaining. It absolutely is. But it doesn't mean it's not worth it or that it's not healing to lose the weight too. It is definitely. Like I noticed I was walking so much easier yesterday. I noticed that things are really getting better, especially as my breathing issues are improving. Like I'm getting less of the asthma. I still cough a lot. But it's tough for me when I'm in like an air-conditioned space because I think that the dry, cold air, it still kind of messes with me a bit. But in terms of being like outside and stuff or being in the heat, it's definitely like charging me up. You know, I feel it. And I'll deal with the heat. Like, I'll sit in my car and just sweat for a while because it's good for me. It's good for my metabolism. And just take in the sun's rays, you know, and just kind of do that for a while every day, you know, because it does help. It really does. It helps, like, especially with my appetite. Like I said, I noticed. But this spring is weird. It's been kind of a slow start spring. It's been very dark a lot of days. And I think just like my body is very prone to bloating. I think because of the weight I've already lost, like I'm in a very weird physical state where it's just delicate. It's just a delicate time. And I don't like it. You know, I don't like that feeling of like I'm walking on a tightrope, or I have to be careful, or I have to this or after that. Like, it's annoying. But it is that 2022 feeling that I had a lot. You know, it's weird. It's weird how things kind of repeat sometimes in the journey. But yeah, I'm excited to start losing again because I'm going into like ground that I've never gotten to. Like, I never got to the 280s ever in my whole adult life. I never have, and I'm really probably going to pretty soon. And I've never gotten beyond that. I never got past the death phase, you know, and I'm getting out of the death phase. Like, I'm really at the end. I've never gotten past mid-fat. I never have, you know, and it's like this summer I'm probably going to have to buy 1X shorts. That's like a small fat size. And it's finally changing. I think it's finally going to really, you know, get even further off the ground. That's a little scary, but it's also exciting. Like, I think I'm at the point now where not only am I not fearful, but I'm excited. You know, there are times where I feel joy over it, which is totally the opposite of how I felt like a year ago, where I was scared to lose weight, or I was still kind of scared of this changing. I'm not at all anymore. I'm just like I said, it's the opposite. I'm even joyous when I think of it, because it's just been so hard earned. And it's like, even if things in life are difficult, this is a huge blessing during this time. Like, I'm finally breaking through and doing things that I haven't been able to do for a very long time. And this whole thing about like I'm not having to deal with the whole like, oh, my metabolism is too slowed down, I can't lose the weight kind of vibe. It's like, that's not happening. It's not slow. You know what I'm saying? So I think that those kind of things, it's just like all these myths and all these things that I used to believe when I was a teenager, when I was in my 20s, and just all this stuff. And I would just think like, I really can't do this, or it's not possible, or that, you know, my metabolism's too slow now, I'm too old. Like, you think about these things sometimes in this way, and it's just really nice to know that that isn't the case, and that there is something to be done here, you know, and I can really break ground probably very soon. And so I'm just still kind of in that watching and waiting moment, although of course not really, because I'm going to the gym and doing all my stuff, but it's easier. So I will say it is easier. It's definitely easier. It's just still more of it's middle of the road. You know, it's not difficult and it's not easy. It's like very much in that middle zone right now, where it's like, okay, I still have to consider my health. I still have to consider it. I think that's kind of the morbidly obese struggle. It's like, I'm not at a zone where I can just not even think about it. Like, I have to think about it every day still, but I don't have to think about it at the expense of everything else, which is how it was a year ago, where it was like I had to put my health on the number one spot, like top priority. I don't have to do that anymore. And that's different for me, and that's weird for me, because I was in such a survival state for such a long time, and to not be in that state to where now it's like there really are bigger concerns than my health. That's new. And I think that's also a feeling of graduating. to the next phase, you know, and it's like I've been taking these steps over time to get to that zone, and I'm just so happy about it. Honestly, I am. It's been so hard done, hard earned, etc. And I'm just so glad that it's happening, you know. But I'm nervous just about like what comes next, you know, because I've never dealt with the social dynamics after this phase. I have no clue what I'm going into. I'm very blind when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think that is one of the most difficult parts of weight loss, is the blindness you have, especially when you've never been thin or you haven't for a very, very long time. It's like, I don't even know what I'm going into, you know? So that's interesting. But we shall find out. I think hopefully in the next update I'll have lost more, you know, unless something crazy happens. But I just wanted to kind of update you guys on what's going on with it. And yes, it's still happening. Yes, I'm doing well, you know. My size is kind of changing, especially in my arms and legs. My waist isn't. I'm gonna look like I'm pregnant soon. I'm gonna just be all belly. But everything else is kind of going down, especially in my arms and legs. But then the weight's the same, you know? And then my strength is up too. So it's interesting. But you have to kind of just like not take the scale as complete gospel. And I think what's important is for me to not be overly harsh with myself, or like understand that although I am still morbidly obese, I'm not as much in a complete crisis where I must, you know, through brute force beat this thing down. That's how I felt a year ago, and I don't feel that way anymore. It's more so like, it's okay if it goes a little slower here or there. It's okay if this, it's okay if that. Like, you can put more of your brute force or more of your effort towards other aspects of life, and it's okay, because you can do more than one thing at the same time now, you know. So I'm kind of at a different point where it's not necessarily my top priority. It is still probably number 2, you know what I'm saying, but it's not the top. So that's interesting. That's very different, especially over the last like 4 years. More like 3, but yeah, it was really a concern in 2020. So I would say really the last 4 years, it was like, I would think about it like every single day, basically. And since March, I haven't. It's not the same. It's changed. So I'm excited. I hope that things continue on. I hope I can show you guys more progress and stuff. That'd be great. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys again soon. I think the bloat is starting to come down. So hopefully I'll have that 290 post soon. So that's exciting. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.